want to do a follow-up story. We're going to do a follow-up story today, and this deals with African-American farmers and the plight of African-American farmers and the $5 billion in debt relief that was in the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan that no Republicans voted for. Only Democrats voted for the bill. You know, we've talked about that before here a number of times on the show, and we've dealt with how you have lawsuits filed in different states by white farmers who are complaining that the debt relief for African-American farmers is discrimination, reverse discrimination, violates their constitutional rights, etc. Yet they were silent when they got almost $26 billion worth of COVID-19 payments from the Trump administration. White farmers got that. Only 1/10 of 1% of those payments went to African-American farmers. So you have their money being held up in because of these lawsuits, and you have African-American farmers who want to join this lawsuit out of Texas in their own defense, and to try to free up this money. TheGrio.com has a good article dealing with this, as well as Politico.com also. The Grio picked up the article from Politico.com, and today on Roland Martin Unfiltered, Roland spoke with attorney Miriam Jordan of the Lawyers Committee for Justice, and the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under the law. So say the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under the law. They are representing the African American farmers. Black farmer group petitions to intervene in Texas debt relief lawsuit. Black farmer group petitions to intervene in Texas debt relief lawsuit. I first saw the story from the Grio, and then researching the topic, I read the article also from Politico.com. But we're going to talk about this on today's show. This is a follow-up to the story we've been covering here for a number of months. The motion to intervene filed on Tuesday. This was filed October 12th, 2021. The motion to intervene on Tuesday includes declarations from 6 farmers alleging discrimination from the Agriculture Department and Farm Service Agency loan programs. All right, so we'll talk about this as well. And also, we're going to continue with the topic that we dealt with on Wednesday's show. You know, on Wednesday we talked about the African American children in Rutherford County who were put into the juvenile system and jailed for a crime that doesn't exist. ProPublica.org has a big article dealing with this. Black children were jailed for a crime that doesn't exist. Black children were jailed for a crime that doesn't exist. Almost nothing happened to the adults in charge. Judge Donna Scott Davenport oversees a juvenile justice system in Rutherford County, Tennessee, with a staggering history of jailing children. She says kids must face consequences which rarely seem to apply to her or the other adults in charge. So, you know, we talked about this story on Wednesday's show, and there was a segment from Mehdi Hassan's show on Sunday, October 10th. I did not get a chance to get to, and we're going to continue the discussion today, dealing with this story out of Rutherford County, Tennessee, because Mehdi Hassan spoke with, and let me get her name correctly here. He spoke with Kristen Henning, who's a book author, and Kristen Henning deals with how America criminalizes Black youth. How America criminalizes Black youth. So we'll continue that discussion today. We'll also give you some information on the online courses that I teach on Saturdays and Sundays, and information about the Social Justice Conference 2021 taking place at Hartford Memorial Baptist Church. I'll be speaking there Saturday, October 16th. My workshop is 10 a.m. The workshop is about 45 minutes or so, but 10 a.m. room 306, 10 a.m. room 306. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information right on the homepage. My workshop is on Black liberation theology as a tool to fight white supremacy. Black liberation theology as a tool to fight white supremacy. The keynote speaker this year on Saturday will be Minnesota State's Attorney General Keith Ellison, who led the prosecution of Derek Chauvin in the murder of George Floyd. Tickets are $25 for the entire conference. It's Friday, October 15th through Sunday, October 17th. We have the information at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also visit hmbcdetroit.org, hmbcdetroit.org for more information as well. Okay. On the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right knowledge corrects your own behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events, history, politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and sign up for our email newsletter there as well. Okay, I want to jump right into the first topic here, giving an update with the African American farmers. They're asking the court to join a lawsuit because they're trying to free up the $5 billion in debt forgiveness. Okay, if we look at this article here, there's one from politico.com, and then we're also going to go to the one from the Griot as well. The one from Politico, let's pull this back up here. A group of black farmers is seeking to jump into the Texas federal court battle, that has stalled a $5 billion debt relief program for farmers of color. The motion to intervene, filed on Tuesday, October 12th, by the Federation of Southern Cooperatives Land Assistance Fund, includes declarations from 6 farmers alleging discrimination from the Agriculture Department and Farm Service Agency loan programs. Okay. Now, this is once again the Federation of Southern Cooperatives. This is an example of how cooperatives have played a role in economic empowerment for African Americans throughout history. The farmers argue that debt relief is key to their business's survival. We know that African American farmers have lost about 92% of their land over the past 100 years or so, and that Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack and his Justice Department attorneys cannot be counted on to defend the debt relief program as vigorously as the African American Farmers Federation will. Now, the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under the law that Kristen Clark used to be with, and now Kristen Clark is Assistant Attorney General in the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. The Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under law said, quote, its members realize the benefits from the program in that the constitutionality of racial justice programs be upheld, Although the Federation's members will be most impacted by the outcome of this case, the record is currently devoid of any stories of or narratives of Black farmers or other farmers of color. It is certain that the Federation will represent the case of past governmental discrimination more comprehensively and compellingly that the government has to date. So they're basically saying the Department of Justice is not going to argue the case as vigorously for African American farmers as the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under law will. We're going to continue this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Black on Purpose Television Network. Yes, Black on Purpose Television Network. All Black, all positive, all the time. The largest Black-owned streaming television network in the world. Bringing our people together worldwide. Controlling our messages, our stories, our way. Black TV the way it should be. Black music, Black history, and more. 30 plus channels, thousands of shows. Black on Purpose Television Network. Subscribe now.
Network show. We deal with current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Unfortunately, many people confuse what racism is. Racism is a power structure. It was laws and policies that put us in this predicament. It's going to be laws and policies that take us out. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you control the compass of his or her actions because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know.
We have it all on 910 AM Superstation. 910, the Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Thursday, October 14th, 2021, and we are live. Okay, right before the break, we were giving an update dealing with the African American farmers and the fight for the $5 billion in debt relief. Okay, it's not $5 billion in cash payments, but it's debt relief for loans that they already have. All right, so we have this story here from Politico.com as well as from Grio.com. Okay, we're going to go back to this. I want to go back to this piece here from Politico. We were looking at right before the break. So the farmers argue that that debt relief is key to their business survival, and that Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack and his Justice Department attorneys cannot be counted on to defend the debt relief program as vigorously as the Black Farmers Federation will. Okay, now some background information here. The lawsuit at hand, Miller versus Vilsack, was first filed by Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller, who argued that who's white, who argued that the program unconstitutionally discriminates against white farmers. The program unconstitutionally discriminates against white farmers. The lawsuit, backed by an organization led by former Trump advisor Stephen Miller, who's a known white supremacist, Stephen Miller, came about a month after the debt relief was passed by Congress in the March 2021 COVID-19 relief program, the American Rescue Plan, the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan that no Republicans voted for in the House or the Senate. Only Democrats voted for the bill. Now, in July 2021, federal district judge Reed O'Connor issued a preliminary injunction concluding that the program is probably unconstitutional and ordering USDA to not issue any payments until litigation is complete. So white farmers sued. You know, we've been covering this story here. White farmers sued, and you had African-American farmers who the white farmers sued, and it put a halt on the debt relief on the resources going to African-American farmers on the debt relief. And white farmers are saying that they're being discriminated against because they can't take advantage of debt relief. Okay. But they didn't say anything about the almost $26 billion in loan forgiveness that they got from the Trump administration in 2020. Okay. So it's interesting. Now, when they got the money from Trump, they weren't talking about discrimination then and how African-American farmers were being discriminated. They weren't talking about that then. If we look at this article here from, and we talked about this before, we look at this article here from the Washington Post. This was an interview that the Washington Post did with Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack says only 0.1% of Trump administration's COVID farm relief went to black farmers. Only 0.1% of Trump administration's COVID farm relief went to black farmers. If we look at this now, this article is from March 25th, 2021. Okay. We've talked about this here before on the show. If we look at this article, Tom Vilsack in the interview said that a tiny fraction of the Trump administration's coronavirus relief for American farmers, just 0.1%, 0.1%, just 0.1% of the overall package went to black farmers, according to Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack. In an interview with the Washington Post, Vilsack for the first time noted the extent to which the Trump administration's response to the coronavirus pandemic exacerbated existing disparities across the American economy. The distribution of coronavirus relief increased those gaps, Tom Vilsack said. Of those who identified their race or ethnicity, black farmers received only $20.8 million of nearly $26 billion in two rounds of payments under the coronavirus food assistance program announced by the Trump administration in April of 2020. Okay, African-American farmers received only $20.8 million of nearly $26 billion in two rounds of payments under the coronavirus assistance program announced by the Trump administration in April 2020. This is an example of how elections have consequences and how politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, palm resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, their adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. Now, Tom Vilsack said we saw 99% of the money going to white farmers and 1% going to socially disadvantaged farmers. And if you break that down to how much went to black farmers, it's 0.1%. It's 0.1%. He said, look at it another way. The top 10% of farmers in the country receive 60% of the value of the COVID payments, and the bottom 10% received 0.26%, a little more than 1/4%. Okay, that's what African-American farmer. Well, that's the bottom 10%. African-American farmers got 1/10%. Okay, so the lawsuit from African-American farmers is dealing with decades of discrimination when it comes discrimination towards African-American farmers when it comes to the U.S. government and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Of the 3.4 million farmers in the United States today, only 45,000 or 1.3% are African-American. Okay. Now there used to be about 1 million African-American farmers close to 100 years ago. Today you have only around 45,000, and some estimates are that it's less than that. It's somewhere in the around mid 30,000s or something like that. Okay, so read this article here from the Washington Post. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack says only 0.1% of Trump administration's COVID farm relief went to black farmers. Okay, so I want to go to this clip here. We're going to go to clip number 1. Shakita, this is from Roland Martin Unfiltered. Today, Roland spoke with Miriam Jordan, who's an attorney for the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under the Law. This is the group that's representing the African American farmers, the cooperative of African American farmers, the Federation of Southern Cooperatives Land Assistance Fund. Let's go to this clip, Shakita.
Ever. Historically, black farmers have been denied loans and grants from the USDA. Congress approved debt relief for farmers of color in March. But where's the money? $5 billion allocated to farmers of color who typically do not receive the loans like their white counterparts. That money should have been dispensed in June. Well, white farmers have been whining and crying about discrimination, and they have been holding up the fund to black farmers with lawsuits. Right now, there's a lawsuit in Texas. Joining us from Highfield, Maryland, is attorney Miriam Jordan, who is with the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. She's representing the black farmers. Miriam, glad to have you on the show. So, these white farmers are yelling reverse discrimination, how they haven't been helped. But it was $25 billion that Trump handed out, and barely any of that went to black and other farmers of color.
But first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. And as you said, there is a long history of discrimination that black farmers and other farmers of color have faced when it comes to loans given by USDA. And they've been repeatedly denied. And now so many of them face crippling debt. And the American Rescue Plan provides debt relief. And unfortunately, a group of farmers are trying to stop this. And this is a program that we should be commending, not trying to stop.
So these lawsuits, how many, because I know the case in Texas, I think there was one in Wisconsin, I think. So how many lawsuits have been filed trying to stop this money from going to the black farmers?
So there are multiple lawsuits filed throughout the country in Texas, Florida, Wisconsin, Colorado, and other states. And these cases are essentially trying to stop USDA from giving out the debt relief to these farmers. And unfortunately, there has been an injunction, basically a court order that has temporarily stopped USDA from giving out these loans. But what is important is that that black farmers should have their voices heard. And that is why we are intervening in one of the Texas cases, Miller versus Vilsack, because it is critical for the judge to understand what is at stake and how so many farmers will lose their livelihoods if there is no debt relief.
Okay, so how long do you foresee this going on? Because, what it's doing is holding up progress, and these black farmers are sitting there going, man, we got the money approved by Congress, now we're still getting screwed.
Exactly. It is very frustrating for them. So many farmers had received a letter notifying them that they had been eligible for debt relief under this program, and they went ahead and made some significant farming plans expecting that they would get the money. So many of them bought new equipment, bought additional seeds, really expanded their farming operations. And unfortunately, we don't know how long this injunction will last or when the case will be resolved. But it's important to keep in mind that so many of these farmers are in limbo because they have no idea what the future is going to look like.
Questions from the panel, Reese Colbert.
Okay. All right. Pause right there, Shakita. Pause right there. Okay. You can watch that full, watch the full show from Thursday, October 14th, 2021. That's Roland Martin on Facebook, Roland Martin on YouTube, and also the Black Star Media app. Download the Black Star Media app to your Android or Apple device, and also it's on Roku and Amazon Prime. a number of different outlets. Okay, so I want to go back to this article here, and I'm trying to pull up the one from the Griot as well. Hold on, I think they think this is here. They picked it up from where the hell? I want to go to the one from the Griot also, but this is the one from Politico. Okay, if we go back to this piece here from Politico, Roland spoke with Miriam Jordan of the Lawyers Committee on Civil Rights. Okay, and they are representing the African American farmers in this lawsuit. All right, now this piece right here, this is one originally from blackenterprise.com. Yahoo News picked up this article. This is from May 3rd, 2021. So when the first lawsuit was filed from the white farmers, we talked about this here on the show. Texas Agriculture Commissioner sues Biden administration, alleging aid to black farmers discriminates against white farmers. Texas Agriculture Commissioner sues Biden administration, alleging aid to black farmers discriminates against white farmers. Okay, this is from May 3rd, 2021, originally written by Black Enterprise. And they talk about Sid Miller in here also. Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller is suing the federal government, claiming the aid to black farmers is part of the Biden administration's COVID-19 relief plan, discriminates against white farmers and ranchers. Okay, Sid Miller is a conservative Republican, is suing as a private citizen and not on behalf of the state of Texas. The suit against the United States Department of Agriculture states the definition in the program fails to include, quote, white ethnic groups that have unquestionably suffered because of their ethnicity. Okay, but the type of discrimination, see, white farmers have gotten billions of dollars over, actually tens of billions of dollars over the decades that African American farmers were largely shut out of. All right, this is why you had one lawsuit filed, the Pickford lawsuit, but this debt relief is to address about 100 years of historic discrimination against African American farmers. And this is something that Senator Tim Scott, Black Tea Party Republican from South Carolina, spoke out against. He spoke out against this program for black farmers on Face the Nation. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, and there's 6,000 black farmers in South Carolina, and Tim Scott isn't doing anything to help them. Okay, he attacked this program and called it something reverse racism or some nonsense that Tim Scott said it was. All right, now if we okay, I was trying to pull us up from I was trying to pull this one up here from the Griot. I'm having problems getting the article. Where is this here? Okay, read this piece here from read the piece here from politico.com. And let me see if we can get this one here from the Griot. Okay, this one right here. Black farmers fight amid Texas lawsuit over $5 billion in debt relief. This is from October 13th, 2021, from the Griot. Black farmers fight amid Texas lawsuit over $5 billion in debt relief. Federation of Southern Conservatives. Let me see if I close all these damn ads out. Okay, we'll come back to this after these ads play. Federation of Southern Conservatives hold on. Federation of Southern Conservatives and Loan Assistance Fund files motion to intervene, saying government won't defend farmers program aggressively. Okay. In this piece here, it talks about once again how a group of black farmers has filed a motion to intervene as part of a Texas federal court battle over $5 billion in debt relief for farmers of color. The motion filed this week by the Federation of Southern Cooperatives Land Assistance Fund, and it includes declarations from 6 farmers alleging discrimination from federal aid programs, according to Politico. Okay, so check out the piece also here from thegrio.com. They picked up the article from Politico. So we'll give you an update when we get more information on what happens with the lawsuit. Okay, I want to go quickly here to a story that we talked about yesterday for the entirety of yesterday's show. Actually, this is dealing with the African American children in Rutherford County. Okay, Rutherford County, Tennessee. There was a big piece from ProPublica. There's a big article from ProPublica. We know local news sources picked up the article as well. Rutherford County judge who illegally jailed black children using fake law faces renewed criticism. Okay, so we talked about this story yesterday. Now, there was a article from there was a piece from Mehdi Hasan's show on MSNBC that we ran out of time on yesterday's show. We couldn't get to. We're going to go to that in just a minute. We're going to go to clip 2 in just a second here, Shakita, from MSNBC. Rutherford County judge who illegally jailed black children using fake law faces renewed criticism. And a lot of news outlets have been reporting on this. But I want to see what the consequences are going to be. That's the most important thing. Okay. What are the consequences going to be? A Rutherford County judge illegally jailed children even when there was no crime committed. Now, Rutherford County is in Tennessee. This judge's name is Donna Scott Davenport. Also, the Black News Channel did some really good reporting on this as well. Okay, we shared the clip from the Black News Channel from yesterday also. Judge Donna Scott Davenport instituted a policy that all children charged with crimes be processed at the detention center. In 2016, 11 African-American elementary school children were detained and or locked up, allegedly witnessing a fight between a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old. Okay. And we talked about how they were arrested. They later sued, etc. Okay. I want to go to this clip here. Mehdi Hasan did a segment on, this was actually on Sunday, had to be Sunday, October 10th, how America criminalizes Black youth. Okay. And he spoke with author Kristen Henning, who talks about this issue of racism in the juvenile justice detention system. Let's go to this clip, Shakita.
I've locked up one 7-year-old in 13 years, and that was a heartbreak. But 8 and 9-year-olds and older are very common now. Being detained at our facility is not a picnic at all. It's not supposed to be. It's a consequence for an action.
That was Judge Donna Scott Davenport, the subject of a stunning new ProPublica investigation detailing her staggering history of locking up kids in one Tennessee county. That includes the outrageous arrests of 11 Black elementary school children in Rutherford County, some of those children as young as 8 years old, all of the arrests under the jurisdiction of Judge Davenport. The ProPublica reports paint a picture of the nightmare beginning with 3 police officers crowded into an administrative office at Hobgood Elementary School. Tammy Garrett, the school's principal, had no idea what to do. One officer wearing a tactical vest told her, "Go get the kids." He was white. A second officer told her, "Don't go get the kids." He was black. The third was silent. He was also black. This all began because of a YouTube video showing 2 small boys, years old, throwing faint punches at a larger boy while a few other kids watched. One of the kids reportedly insulted the other's mother, but the arrest wasn't for the boys who threw punches. No, officers were hunting down the children who looked on. The names police had given the principal included 4 girls now sitting in classrooms throughout the school. All 4 girls were black. There was a 6th grader, 2 4th graders, and a 3rd grader. The youngest was 8. She wore her hair in pigtails. Principal Garrett rounded up the 6th grader, a tall girl with braids who had visions of becoming a police officer, one of the 4th graders, the girl with diabetes, and the 8-year-old 3rd grader. In the hallway, the principal tried to prepare them, saying the police were there regarding a video of a fight. Hearing this, the 6th grader told Principal Garrett that the other 2 girls hadn't even been there. After returning to the office with the 3 girls, Garrett relayed to police what the 6th grader had told her. Her words were barely out when Officer Jeff Cowell, the white officer, made it clear he'd had enough. Carroll pulled out handcuffs and put them right in my face, Garrett recalled. And he said, "We're going now. We're going now. There's no more talk, and we're going now." By now, the girls were crying and screaming and reaching for the principal, who was also crying, as was the assistant principal. Officer Carroll handcuffed the 6th grader. She asked why, and Carroll said because policy allowed him to. After being handcuffed, the 6th grader fell to her knees. One of the girls who had tried to stop the scuffle seen in the video was also arrested. She vomited and cried. 11 children in all were arrested over the video, including the 8-year-old taken in by mistake. Just makes me reading that stuff out. Rutherford County, where Judge Davenport served, eventually set a class action suit filed by those arrested, but admitted no wrongdoing. And according to ProPublica, Judge Davenport remains in her post. But look, this isn't something new or rare. People have been warning about structural racism across our juvenile justice system for years now, including Kristen Henning, the author of the depressingly perfectly timed new book, The Rage of Innocence, How America Criminalizes Black Youth. She writes, "There is something particularly efficient about treating black children like criminals in adolescence. Black youth are dehumanized, exploited, and even killed to establish the boundaries of whiteness before they reach adulthood and assert their rights and independence." She joins me now. She's also the Bloom Professor of Law and Director of the Juvenile Justice Clinic, an initiative at Georgetown Law, and she worked as the lead attorney of the juvenile unit at the D.C. Public Defender Service. Kristen Henning, thanks so much for joining me this evening. Let's first talk about the charges in this case in Tennessee. They couldn't arrest the 5- and 6-year-olds who were throwing the punches because they were too young to be charged with a crime. So Crystal Templeton, the police officer investigating the video, wanted to arrest every kid who watched the fight, and they made up this responsibility law to justify. What is your reaction to this bizarre and truly awful story?
It's just, I mean, you talked about anger and outrage. It's just such a traumatic story for so many reasons. I mean, starting with the absolute ways in which we criminalize normal adolescent behaviors among Black children all over the country. And to be clear, as you said, this isn't an anomaly. I almost feel bad that this happened in Tennessee because it allowed us to sort of relegate this as maybe part of the vestiges of the Southern racist history. But evidence shows from New Jersey to California to the Mid-Atlantic region, children are arrested. Black children are charged and arrested for things like schoolyard fights, like this one, trespassing on school property, food fights, things of that nature that we would never contemplate doing for a white child. And so that quote that you put up from my book it calls the question: is this intentional? Right? Is this did Judge Davenport engage in this pattern in practice all these years is an intentional way of controlling and limiting Black children, or is it her racial bias? I mean, she talks in this story, about it's her God-given mission to discipline and save these children from their lack of morals. So, So, Professor Henning, let me ask you this.
You mentioned Judge Davenport. Data from 2014 cited by ProPublica shows that 48% of the children who were referred to Judge Davenport's court were jailed. For context, the state average is 5%. This judge has held her position since the year 2000, more than 2 decades. How has the system, how has society, how have local politicians and parents allowed her to get away with this for so long?
Absolutely. She is an elected official. That means her constituents, the constituents of Rutherford County have endorsed this. And that's where the problem lies. It is all part and parcel of the deeply embedded fears and stereotypes and assumptions that we have about Black and brown children. The school where these children were arrested is 2/3 Black and Latino children. And we have to be sure, we can be sure that nobody would stand for this as a response to normal adolescent behaviors if we were talking about white children. So we as a community, yes.
And on that note, sorry to jump in, because you just reminded me of the most important question I wanted to ask tonight. You've written this book. You're an attorney. You've been a public defender. You've written this amazing, powerful new book. You talk about race and the way we treat white children versus Black and Latino children. Describe to our viewers at home, not just based on your book, your life experience, how does America's court system treat Black children, brown children versus white children? Sum it up.
Yeah, the data shows that across the country, Black children are more likely to be stopped, arrested, and officially referred to juvenile courts all across the country. And most people believe that children are being referred to court for serious violent offenses. That is just simply not true. Vast majority of young people end up in court for minor, low-level misdemeanor behaviors, just like the behaviors that Judge Davenport is sending children for. Once they are referred to juvenile courts, they are more likely to be detained in detention facilities like the one in Murfreesboro. They are more likely to be found guilty, more likely to be securely detained long-term at residential treatment facilities.
So, Professor Henning, how much is this about the juvenile legal system or about judges like Davenport? And how much is it about our society as a whole, our culture, and the way we all look at Black kids, our biases, our prejudices collectively?
It's a perfect question. I think it's deeply embedded in our culture. I think the problem starts there. We have to have a radical shift in how we view children. The bottom line is we have to view Black children as children too. We would never pepper spray a child who throws a white child who has a temper tantrum. We would never send a canine dog out to stop a child who is getting into a fight or any of the things that normal children do. Childhood
play.
Pause
it right there, Shakita. Pause it right there.
Deeply embedded.
Okay, thanks. Because we're running out of time here. Watch that clip. That's from Peacock, and it's on MSNBC.com. How America Criminalizes Black Youth is actually from October 12, 2021, the Mehdi Hassan show. How America Criminalizes Black Youth. That was Kristen Henning that you heard, the author of The Rage of Innocence. Okay, very quickly here. We talked about this story yesterday. WKRN in Tennessee, Channel 2. They have this story, and they had an update on October 13th. I didn't get a chance to talk about the update yesterday. Middle Tennessee State University has cut ties with Judge Donna Davenport, sending out an email stating that she is no longer affiliated with the university. Now, she's still a judge. She's an elected official. She needs to be voted out of office. I'm not sure if there'll be federal prosecution. We'll see. There'll probably be updates to the story. We'll let you know those updates as well. And one of the articles that we talked about yesterday, because all of this is connected, understanding white supremacy and racism, is this story that we talked about a few weeks ago pertaining to R. Kelly. I also deal with this, dealing with Cardi B and WAP. and the adultification of African-American girls and negative corporate controlled hip hop. Black girls are viewed as less innocent than white girls starting at age 5. Study shows the adultification of Black girls leads to harsher disciplinary treatment, researchers found. Now, the elementary school that this took place in Tennessee is Hobgood Elementary School. Hobgood Elementary School. Okay. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Remember, I'll be speaking at the Social Justice Conference 2021, Hartford Memorial Baptist Church in Detroit, Saturday, October 16th. My workshop is 10 a.m. in room 306. I'll be speaking on Black liberation theology as a tool to fight white supremacy. The conference is 3 days. It's $25. You can pay at the door. Visit hmbcdetroit.org for more information. hmbcdetroit.org for more information. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. We'll keep going for a few more minutes. Right now, let's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. All right, stand by, everybody. How's everybody doing? Share this broadcast on your social media platforms. We have the information here for the Social Justice Conference. It's 3 days, Friday, October 15th through Sunday, October 17th, Hartford Memorial Baptist Church in Detroit. I'll be there on Saturday. They'll have vendors on Saturday also. I'll have a vendor booth as well. The African History Network, you can come see me. We'll have our DVD lectures there. I'll be enrolling people in our online courses. But my workshop on Saturday at the church, 10 a.m., room 306, third floor. Black liberation theology as a tool to fight white supremacy. This year's keynote speaker on Saturday, October 16th, will be Minnesota State's Attorney General Keith Ellison. And we have the program here also. We have a link to the website. Keith Ellison, who led the prosecution in the murder of George Floyd. Okay. The website is here. We have a link to Hartford Memorial Baptist Church website on our website. It takes you here, and they have information here for the conference right here. Keith Ellison, click there. They have information. Okay. And they have it right up on the conference also. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Be sure to register for the 10-week online course that I teach on Saturdays from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. This class picks up where Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade leaves off. We do this class 12 noon to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. And we deal with what led up to the Civil War taking place. So we start in about 1803 with the Louisiana Purchase, and then we deal with the U.S. Civil War, Reconstruction, Jim Crow era, World War I, World War II, Great Migration, and we deal with what happens after the Civil War ends, what happens to African Americans, what were the laws and policies put in place to put us in a predicament that we're in right now, so we understand where we go from here, what needs to take place. But you have to understand this history of how you got where you are. So each class we go through and analyze approximately a 10-year period of history, so we can look at this information in depth. Now, this is a continuation of the first course that I teach, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And in this class, we deal with thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Okay. We deal with ancient Africa, ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, Nubia, Ta-Nehisi, Ghana, Songhai, Mali. We deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors also. And we deal with what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Then we go through and analyze the transatlantic slave trade as well. So this class, we deal with thousands of years of history. I do this on Sundays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With both of these classes, we do the sessions live All the sessions are recorded. You can go back and watch them over and over again. Okay. And they're archived even after the 10-week online course is over with. You still have access to it. You can still watch the full class. Okay. This one here is on sale $80, regularly $130. Both of them, I would say, are PG-13. You can use them with children as well. Okay. And I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips, all of that, and take you throughout history. Okay. So that's ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. That's the first class that I teach. You can take them in any order, but from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement, the Black Power is crucial because there was so much information that I covered in the first class. I didn't have time to deal with from 1865 through 1968 the way that I really wanted to deal with it in the way it needs to be dealt with. So I had to do a separate class so we can go through and spend more time in each class, go through and analyze approximately a 10-year period of history. Okay, so we posted a link here. It's also at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for those classes there. If you want to advertise with the African History Network, email us at email us at TheAHNShow at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, TheAHNShow at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also, if you want to advertise with the African History Network as well, we have a current promotion going on right now. Buy 1 month, get 2 months free. We'll post this information here. Advertise your African American owned business with the African History Network. All right. I'll be on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday. We'll talk some about it on Friday's show and Sunday as well. I've got to get out of here. I'm working on my presentation for Saturday. I have to teach a class on Sunday, and I'm getting all that information together. So thanks for tuning in. Also, if you'd like this type of information you can support, very important. If you'd like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App. Also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. We're here 6 days a week. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, pay some of the bills, etc. This is our official Cash App account, $ the AHN Show, SHOW. When you go to it, it says Michael and shows my picture there. These other ones are fake African History Network Cash App accounts. That's not me. Okay, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, you focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now, it's corrects wrong behaviors. Not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Black on Purpose Television Network. Yes, Black on Purpose Television Network. All black, all positive, all the time. The largest black-owned streaming television network in the world. Bringing our people together worldwide. Controlling our messages, our story, our way. Black TV the way it should be. Black music, Black history, and more. 30-plus channels, thousands of shows. Black on Purpose Television Network. Subscribe now.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustle Her Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new uprise.
Gain knowledge in minutes from insightful summaries of progressive and socially conscious books. Blacklisted gives you access to curated content that'll satisfy your curiosity to learn and understand different perspectives. Empower yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. It's easy to read or listen to on the go. Blacklisted. Empower yourself. Start your free trial today.